Good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, September the 17th, presented by Mercury. Hey, we're going to connect with Tom Ott for Guntersville, Josh Herron for Logan Martin and Lay Lake, and then, of course, we're going to connect with Lee Pitts on Neely Henry and Weiss Lake. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back with what the guys have to say to help you put a few more fish in your boat. Well, good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, September the 17th, presented by Mercury. Time for us to connect with our good friend Tom Ott up there at Lake Guntersville. Tom, what are you and St. Jennifer been up to up there on the water?
And I'm telling you what, Dano, right now it's been a lot of hit and miss, here and there kind of stuff. The weather's been just absolutely gorgeous here lately. A lot of high pressure, though, and I think most bass fishermen know what I mean. The good thing about Guntersville is after a few days of that kind of weather, we stabilize up somewhat. The fish got to eat, so they start to move around and eat a little bit. The consensus is it's pretty tough out there, and it really is. The flipping bite's really coming on, and the frog bite is still just, I think it's just right around the corner, but there's a lot of people that are catching some fish on a frog right now. I'm still chasing the schoolers. I think it's, an early morning topwater bite. It's just a lot of fun. And, to go catch 20 or 30 fish in a day is just, it's hard to beat. You just got to kind of bounce around if you want to catch some of those bigger fish. There's a lot of tournaments going on this weekend. There's some benefit tournaments, some ABA kind of stuff going on. So, there'll be a lot of boats out there. And with this weather, football, it all kind of mixes together. It's great. It's a great time.
Yeah, we love the fall time when we start to see the fish there on the surface, the bait fish up there, and the bass kind of tend to look like me around a buffet. I've got my attention on one thing. How do you change that attention?
Man, I tell you what, trying to get those fish to eat what you want them to eat is a big difficult thing. I think what we're doing right now is we're just really downsizing. There's a lot of small bait out there. Anything that's very, very small that you can throw. I like to throw it on a bait caster versus a spinning rod. So, flukes, things like that, subsurface, anything that's subsurface, top water, anything you can work over the grass because you're going to deal with that a lot. A weedless bait is really producing. I mean, these things just come up and you never know what's underneath. A little secret is always a small spoon. If you've got like a 1-inch head and spoon is, something that can really turn on some fish for you. It's great. Just throw it out there, let it fall, let it drop, snap it a few times, and boom, you're catching fish. So, hey, man, get after it.
Well, and if the bass are starting to roam and cruise those schoolers, I'm pretty sure that the striper are going to follow soon, as are the crappie. Tom, as always, man, we appreciate everything, and we will talk to you again next week.
Yeah, on those crappie, Dano, the causeways are really turning on. I've got some buddies that have been whacking them over there. The fish are a little small right now, but they're catching a lot of fish, few keepers, but it's coming. So get ready. Get those buckets and those minnows ready. Tight lines.
Well, good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, September the 17th, presented by Mercury. Time for us to connect with our good friend Josh Herron, our Bass Cat Mercury Pro from down there at Logan Martin and Lay Lake. Josh, what's going on down there on those puddles?
Man, we're still about the same. These fish are still river-oriented. Pretty much. We haven't got that big push still. And but man, with this cooler weather coming in, it's got to be coming. But fishing's getting a little bit better. These fish are still, like I said, really river oriented, so you catch them river docks, any of these little channel swings when we get the little water flow going. But it's still 100% bait driven right now. You're starting to see a lot of these balls of shad really starting to bunch up tight. So we're fixing to get into that spinner bait, buzz bait, stuff you can really cover some water with. And, man, it's setting up to be a decent fall.
So we're starting to see them. Are they still kind of in the mouths of those creeks? And what's it going to take to get those bait fish moving back into where the bass will start to follow?
And we got to get some water temperature off of it. Like I said, this week the nights have really helped, but we still need some more, a little bit cooler rain and some cooler nights to really get that water turn and get it down to like that 72, 71, 69, and it'll really turn on then.
Yeah, they do like that cooler weather. So you're running around with spinner baits and stuff like that. What's an afternoon type bite that you can count on?
Man, it's still so hot in the afternoons that shallow dock bite's really going to play on Logan. River oriented still, but it's still going to be those docks in the 4 to 6 foot range, and even shallower later in the afternoon. So these fish are still going to be really shade oriented. They're still hot. So Lay's kind of the same thing, man. It's going to be a spotted bass thing in the morning primarily, unless you want to go swim and jig. But numbers are going to be more geared towards spotted bass, spooks, vixens, any of these little rock outcroppings. It's starting to get into the time where you can catch them a little bit on a jerkbait. Still need it to cool down a little bit for that, and then move to the grass in the afternoon. Swim jig, flip, shade lines are your friend.
What area of the lakes do you want to target right now? Are you wanting to be kind of mid-lake still? Is that kind of the area?
Yeah, Logan, you really need the water to kind of cool off before that upper end really plays good. Either that or you need a lot of current. We don't have either right now. So that mid-lake, down-lake area is still going to be key. And at Lay, you're still looking at that beeswax to the 400 or Amplicusa area. So going to be a really good area of the lake to check out.
All right, man. We appreciate it as always, and we will talk to you again next week.
Thanks, buddy.
Good morning, everyone. This is Dan O'Sullivan with your Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, September the 17th, presented by Mercury. Time for us to connect with our good friend Lee Pitts, our pro staffer from up there at Weiss Lake. But Lee, first this week, I want to talk Fish Neely Henry Lake. Tell me what's going on down here.
From last week, my thumb indicator, Neely's on the upswing a little bit. It's a little bit better. So that's one good thing. I'm glad you started with Neely this week. The water temperatures are cooling down a little bit. Some of the stain is getting on out of here. So the fish are starting to do a little something there. Neely's got some of the bass action, especially. It's turning on a little bit. Some of these bigger spots are rolling up. And even with the crappie end of it, these crappie are starting to get around some of these docks down there. Still, most are out on the river ledges, river channels, and they're holding tight to this, any kind of cover they can find, whether it be man-made stumps, eddy spots out there when they're pulling that current. Mostly biting on live bait, dropping it out there deep, just kind of tight lining with it and bumping around and just kind of keeping it in the strike zone. But still, some of these guys that I've talked to down that way, they're starting to do some dock shooting. And once again, man, these Bobby Garland products are really shining down there right now. It's turning on the baby shads, the slab slayers, minnow minders, thing like that. Black chartreuse, something with a little bit of a purple in it's been good. So it's starting to get right. We're getting a little cooler, so things are looking up.
Yeah, and I know the crankbait bite's been okay at Neely. Some of the moving baits, I think they're kind of getting on some of more of that hard cover there too. Okay, let's talk Weiss Lake. You've sent me some pictures this week. It looks like the crappie bite's starting to take on there. What's going on?
It is. The crappie are just now starting to move around a little bit here. And even with the fishing I've done, you got to bounce around. You got to jump around a little bit. It's not you can just go out there and set over a brush pile and you're going to catch a limit. But you're knocking around. The fish are starting to kind of relate to it. They're starting to get where they're supposed to be. And two, I've talked to some of the other guys, and we're catching some short fish. So, it's got to be a 10-inch fish here at Weiss to keep. And now even some of the fish are moving. Even catching short fish is a good sign because that means they're coming. It's one of those things that we're looking for. Water temperature still 77, 78, 79. A little bit more towards the end of the week. We've had a little bit more heat, but the nights are getting, a little cooler. So that's helping. It's looking good. Things are fixing to pick up.
And the bass bite, I know those are still in the shallows a little bit, have to poke and hunt a little bit, but they're coming in on spinnerbaits and crankbaits and stuff there too. Lee, as always, man, we appreciate everything, and we will talk to you again next week.
All right, guys. Thank you. See you next week.
Well, that'll wrap up our Bucks Island Area Fishing Report for Saturday, September the 17th, presented by Mercury. Thanks to the guys for all their help, helping us put a few more fish in the boat. And don't forget, if you need anything for your boating or fishing needs, stop on by Bucks Island. We're happy to help. But most importantly, we're grateful for you for being the best part of Bucks Island. Thank you, and we'll talk to you again next week.